What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and I'm wearing a Chinese watch. But here's everything I wish I knew before buying it. It's 1:45 p.m. Let's get down to business. Okie dokie, so let's get right into the list. First things first, I think this is obvious. The first thing I wish I knew before buying a Chinese watch is people will hate on your watch simply for it being Chinese. Now, I'm using quotes when saying Chinese because let's face it, anyone who would judge your watch simply based upon where it was made probably does not know much about watches at all. Here's an example, okay? I'm basing all of this off of what I see in my comment section, and I get a lot of comments, so it's a decent sampling. Number one, a lot of people comment on my Seikos telling me that it is Chinese garbage. Seiko's from Japan. And of course, whenever I mention one of my Boulder Field watches, people are bound to be in the comment section telling me that it's just Chinese rubbish, even though Boulder is made in Singapore. And who could forget all the beautiful comments under my various G-Shock videos telling me that they don't want those Chinese toys on their wrist. Again, Casio is from Japan, so these people, they are ignorant at best, or just stupid. Which brings me to my next point, okay? Not only will these people hate on your watch simply because they perceive it's Chinese, these people will hate on your watch simply because it's not Swiss, and it's a huge bummer because these people are actually missing out on a lot of really cool watches. All right, the next thing I wish I knew before buying a Chinese watch. Well, things are changing, but typically in the past, Swiss watchmakers have had a better track record when it comes to quality control, okay? And again, I think these things are changing the more certain companies are specializing what they make. But why do the Chinese manufacturers have a bad track record with quality control? I simply think it's a volume issue, okay? I think a lot of these Chinese watchmakers churn out a lot of products. They have huge warehouses. They're making a ton of watches for very, very low costs, and they're bound to, cut costs someplace, and it's typically with quality control. So you gotta know what you're getting. This goes for any watchmaker, Chinese or Swiss or German. You gotta know what you're getting into, do research on the company, and if it's a good company, it's a good company regardless of what region it's made. So simply put, these Chinese watchmakers make a ton of products, and they're bound to get into some trouble when it comes to quality control. The next thing I wish I knew before buying a Chinese watch is regardless of which watch you're wearing, it could be a Seagull 1963 chronograph like this, people will argue that, hey, you're really gonna support a company that supports counterfeiters, or oh, you're gonna support a region that supports counterfeiters. Here's what I'm getting at. I wish I knew how bad of a rap China got because of their history with producing fake watches. And I get it, okay? Fake watches are the bane of my existence as a watchmaker, but we have to show some discretion, right? There are a lot of Chinese manufacturers that are churning out copies of Submariners, copies of Daytonas, copies of APs and Pateks, and just really terrible watches that are supporting really terrible organizations. Don't support replica companies, okay? Replica is just a nice word for fake. But those companies aside, there are some other people making really cool watches that happen to be in Asia or China specifically. But again, when people hate on your watch, you could be wearing a Boulder from Singapore and these idiots won't be able to tell a difference. But again, simply put, China's massive counterfeit market is the biggest source of bad press that the Chinese watchmakers get. The next thing I wish I knew before buying a Chinese watch is that not all Chinese watches are cheap, okay? A lot are very affordable, but they're not all cheap. Now, I've made multiple episodes explaining my distinction between those two words, but here's an example. I'm wearing my Seagull 1963 chronograph, and this is a very affordable watch. Again, I think this is the easiest way to get into a true mechanical chronograph. This is a watch you can find for well under $400, sometimes under $300, and that's arguably pretty dang affordable, but I don't think it's super cheap. Like, it's not poorly put together. I've had this for years and years, and I've worn it a whole bunch. and it's ticking perfectly, keeping time perfectly, and I couldn't be happier with it. It doesn't feel terrible, doesn't feel like a toy. There's certain things that I can tell they did that I wish they did differently. For instance, the handset. I'm very, very picky on the handset. I wish they put a more robust set of hands on the subdials. They look a little bit thin and flimsy, but again, I don't think that it's an overall terribly cheap looking watch or cheap feeling watch, but it is really affordable, especially for the amount of watch you're getting. But on the flip side of that, the next thing I wish I knew about Chinese watches, they're not all good. Okay, so hear me out. I like watches, period, regardless of where they're from. If I can find a good watch and it is a good watch, I don't care where it's made. I really like this Seagull. Seagull makes some really good watches, but there are a lot of Chinese watches that just happen to be crap. Okay, and that statement right there, people are gonna, out of this whole episode, people are gonna hang on that one statement I just made. Time Teller thinks Chinese watches are crap. I knew it. He is a snob. Oh, grow up. But if I could make one final point to kind of tie up this whole episode, do your research, wait, take your time, and know what you're getting into regardless of where the watch is made. Okay, it could be a Swiss watch, it could be a Chinese watch, it could be a Singaporean watch, it could be a German watch, it could be an Irish watch. I've actually reviewed an Irish watch on this channel before, one of my very, very early reviews. But again, have accurate expectations for what you're getting into. If you're spending money on one of these sub $100 watches that we don't know much about, for instance, the Star King watch I just reviewed, or the IK Coloring cheapest automatic watch on Amazon, these watches are Chinese. There's not a whole lot of info out about them. They are maybe somewhat, wild cards. So if you're not willing to roll the dice with some of these watches that people don't know a whole lot about, maybe wait. Take your time, save up, and spend a little bit more for a watch that a lot of people have had a lot of experience with, and that you can trust a little bit more. But what I'm trying to get at, guys, is you can find really good watches from a certain area. You can find really bad watches from a certain area, regardless of where that area is. All right. So let's not judge the watches based upon what region they are manufactured in, and judge the watch on a watch basis, like its own specific basis. And yeah, again, I think that the amounts of products China churns out gets them in trouble, and I think that their enormous counterfeit market, especially when we're looking at wristwatches, that gives all the other honest manufacturers from China a very bad rap, and that's a bummer. But again, this is a very Chinese watch that I'm wearing from Seagull, and it's a very good watch, so I'm happy with it. But guys, I hope you learned something from this episode. If you did, please consider clicking that subscribe button if you haven't already. I want to thank you so much for getting me past 95,000 subscribers. Only 5,000 more subscribers until 100,000. I just cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. Like, my birthday is in June. I think we reasonably will hit 100,000 by my birthday. That's the best gift anyone could ever get me. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. And you are the reason I do all these episodes. You're the reason that I'm researching more. And one of my favorite parts about this channel has been interacting with people from all over the globe that I would never have been able to otherwise. And also you guys forcing me to have to research more about these topics that I love. Again, I probably would not be reading as much about watches than I would, having to produce content every day. So I'm very thankful for that. I get to wake up and you guys have lit a fire under me, and you're kicking me in the pants a little bit, and you're making me do work. And again, I'm very blessed to say the work I do is in a venue that I'm very, very happy with. The wristwatch space, very good space to be. So thank you guys. I couldn't do any of this without you. I'm a very, very lucky, very blessed man, and it's all because of you. So in the comment section, give yourselves a round of applause, because 95,000 subscribers, that is incredible. And yeah, 100,000 right around the corner, and I'm bringing you with me. So some more good news. Although shipping has been slowed down to the current, world thing happening. We can't even say what's happening because YouTube will demonetize the channel, but shipping has been slowed down, but some more inventory is coming into the Time Teller shop. I'm very excited to list those watches. Also, some very cool watch related gear in my affiliate links in the description below that helps the channel out a bunch. Join the channel if you want to be a channel member and support us. That's another really great way to support the channel. But again, just subscribe, hit the bell icon, like, comment, subscribe. Let everybody know about this episode if you enjoyed it. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Always remember, I didn't invent time, I just tell it.